Newcastle United are facing Newcastle tonight as they look to extend Michael Carrick's unbeaten run and strengthen their grip on a Champions League qualification spot. You know, United are in a good place when the manager is being asked about winning the league. Carrick handled the question well without entirely giving up on the prospect. Ironically, it is 30 years today since they won 1-0 at Newcastle in March 1996. Skim was heroic, and Cantona got the only goal of the game. Gordon will start down the middle for Newcastle tonight. Elanga has scored just one goal in competitions and has looked really low on confidence. Both Maguire and Shaw are considered fit enough to start then, having come off ill against Crystal Palace on Sunday. Mazraoui for Dalit is a big call. Dalit has had a hit-on-miss season and wasn't great against Palace. Newcastle were frustrated in the summer transfer window. They lost Isak to Liverpool and wanted to sign Sesko as a replacement. Newcastle offered a higher fee to Leipzig, but Sesko's decision was made. He wanted to move to Old Trafford. Newcastle fans will have winced watching Sesko bane in the goals for fun over the last few weeks. Howe has experimented by playing Woltemade as a midfielder in the same period. Woltemade made a good start for Newcastle, but he is not a natural striker and they would have been better off if they landed Sesko. The Magpies were also interested in Mbu, who indicated his desire to join United from the beginning of the window. Elanga was signed as an alternative and he's been a disaster so far. United admire Tonali and Guimaraes, and the club would make a move for either player if they became available at the end of the season. Newcastle are 13th in the Premier League and look likely to miss out on Europe given their inconsistency this season. Failure to do so would be a huge setback to their Saudi-backed project, and it would risk losing their best players. There is a food chain in the Premier League, and Newcastle could be rated in the summer for their best players. Tonali or Guimaraes would be brilliant additions at United, but they won't be short of suitors if they become available. Last night went perfectly for United. Not only did Liverpool drop points, but they did it a hilarious way. United have real breathing room now in the Champions League battle, and another win tonight could feel significant. It won't be easy. Newcastle are in poor form in the Premier League, but this is always a tough place to come and win for United. Wan-Bissaka scored. United have not won at St. James Park since October 2020, when fans were absent due to the pandemic. You have to go back to January 2019 for United's last win at St. James Park when fans were in attendance. The Reds have been overwhelmed by atmosphere and tempo over the last few seasons, and they must take the sting out of the game in the first 20 minutes. Newcastle will start on the front foot, and their crowd will react to their aggression, but they will quieten if United are able to ride the storm. Strap yourselves in! It's going to be entertaining. The biggest intrigue before the game tonight will be the status of Maguire and Shaw. Both came off with illness on Sunday, but are in contention to return here. Shaw certainly looked unwell when he left the pitch against Palace. Carrick said Shaw was brought off due to sickness. You have to take Carrick at his word. But Shaw looked pretty distraught as he walked off, suggesting perhaps he had an injury. Interestingly, Carrick said Dorgu came off against Arsenal with cramp, but he limped as he left the stadium, and it was obvious something else was amiss. Jack Fletcher has apologized for using a homophobic insult during an EFL trophy fixture against Barnsley earlier this season after being handed a 6-game suspension by the Football Association. Fletcher used the offensive term after becoming embroiled in a running battle with an older opponent, who made comments to him about his father and twin brother, Tyler. Nothing sums up the change in mood around Old Trafford than the fact that Carrick was asked whether United could still win the Premier League this week, and not only did he answer the question seriously, he didn't rule it out either. Carrick is wise enough to know that it borders on the impossible for United to catch Arsenal and Manchester City over the final months of the season. But he has also seen enough in his time at the club to insist he is always a glass-half-full kind of guy. Before tonight's game, why not watch the latest episode of the Manchester is Red podcast? Stephen and Tyrone sat down to discuss Sesko's sensational form, Carrick's chances of becoming the next permanent boss, and looked ahead to the Newcastle clash. Manchester United will be without Martinez and Mount for the trip to Newcastle tonight. Michael Carrick has been without Martinez since the clash with Everton after he picked up a minor calf issue in training.